A full capacity crowd here at the First Center, and we are underway. The number 3 ranked team in the nation controls the opening tip. Bouncing backdoor, Sharp, +1.
That is a scripted play right from the tip. This team worked on exactly what they wanted their first look to be, and they just executed it to perfection straight from the tip. Pass to the shoulder, back cut, Sharp, beautifully timed, high-level execution. This group gets it done. It's following the blueprint from your coach and executing it. That's what championship teams do. Great start in the first sequence for the Cougars.
Sharp can't convert 3 the hard way. He had 3 the easy way 8 times earlier this week, set a new school record. He is their all-time 3-point makes leader. Went off against the Utes. Hagerty against Sharp. Sharp wrenches it loose. K-State turns it over on their first possession. Houston won 66-52. Their midweek game in Salt Lake City against Utah. Meanwhile, Kansas State lost by 31 at home against Cincinnati. Fleming's a miss at the rim, offensive rebound, and 2 early fouls on the K-State interior. There's a look at Kelvin Sampson. His 12th year here at Houston, over 300 wins, 821 career victories, and recently this week named a finalist for the Naismith Hall of Fame.
Tried to give him credit and congratulate him. He said thank you very much, was very humbled, and said the best part about this week being named a finalist has been hearing from guys all the way back to his days as a GA at Michigan State, when he was assistant at Montana Tech, all the way through his stops. Players reaching out to him and congratulating him because he believes it's about the relationships.
Says a lot about his character.
Absolutely.
Kansas State with possession. A trap in the hot corner. Castillo, lock and load. A 3 is an air ball. It sails out of bounds. Meanwhile, for Kansas State, coached by Jerome Tang, this is year 4. It was a gut check week for the Wildcats. And the response, it was about standards in Manhattan.
He challenged his guys, said some pretty polarizing things this week. Got picked up by all the debate shows and talking about a lot of these guys won't be back. And he doubled down on those comments when we talked today. He said, I don't care about how they feel. You got to play with the pride. His biggest question in this one this afternoon is, are you going to compete at the level of Houston? Otherwise, you'll get buried. Early on, James, they're competing.
David Castillo drills a 3 on the secondary break, and K-State has a lead.
Because Castillo was composed on the early offense there. The swing, he gets a good look, adrenaline running, oxygen, air ball, second goal of it, composure prevails.
Castillo making his 7th consecutive start. A foul here in the front court. And it goes against David Castillo, his first personal. 11th meeting all time. Houston has won 3 of the last 4. Beat K-State by 30 last year in Manhattan, but the all-time series 5 apiece. Cougs have been an absolute juggernaut here at home. Cross-court skip, Snack, a 3. The big can't hit. And it's out of bounds to K-State off the rebound.
Pretty good rotationally there from K-State. You know, showed hard on the pick and roll high ball screen. Got back into rotation, late contest on Sinek. And then you go rebound the basketball. Those are winning sequences for a team that's looking for some sort of positivity at this point in the season in February.
They have been a much better team on the road all season. McGriff against Tugler, working his way in, lost his balance, and a foul on the floor. Before the travel, it goes against Tugler, his first. Kansas State with an early lead. That was the second foul on JoJo Tugler But your points of emphasis when you look at this one today for the Cougs.
Yeah, right, points of emphasis, let's call it the Holy Trinity, because that's what it is for Coach Sampson and his program that has such incredible consistency. Starts with defending, every facet of defending, transition defense, guarding pick and rolls, guarding pin downs. Then it goes to rebounding the basketball, generating more possessions for your team, most especially on the offensive glass. As a screen set there, they'll get McGriff for the moving screen, right call. And then finally, the turnover battle, winning the margins of turnovers. It's as simplistic as you have to value the basketball because it puts you in position to win. So many high school to college kids think they can split the defense in transition, do these type of things that you can do in high school that you simply cannot in college. Fundamentally cutting it down to value in the basketball puts you in winning position. Those three keys, that holy trinity for Coach Sampson, is why this group year in and year out is contending for conference titles and national titles.
They have been ranked in 120 consecutive AP polls. They are the nation's winningest team since 2017, this Houston program. And they lead the nation in fewest turnovers per game. Sharp rises up from the baseline, tough angle. Sacco offensive rebound. Another bite at the apple for Houston. Uzan probing, rises, can't connect. Long rebound, K-State. Castillo oozing with confidence. An early three, K-State's only basket. Johnson, mismatch, takes the big, mid-block, leans, miss. Sanat with the board.
James, Nate Johnson has to be a guy for Kansas State here on the road against this really good Cougars team. He's got the body, he's got the confidence, he has the ability. Can he be that Robin to Hagerty's Batman?
Had a huge non-conference for Kansas State when he's been quiet in league play. Houston has missed 5 in a row. Sharp lost it. Steal. Hagerty to the well. Sacco gets up high.
Effort. They don't give up on a play, this group. You think you got him beat? You think you have an advantage or edge? They neutralize it.
Hagerty cans a corner pocket three.
Speaking of the great equalizer, P.J. Hagerty. He's a bucket getter. He's going to find his. If there's one piece of consistency in what feels like a lost season for K-State, it's been P.J.
K-State's on a 6-0 run. Flemings, he has it denied on the inside. Buka with the rejection. Here comes Johnson in traffic, and he draws a foul. Timeout on the floor. Kansas State leads 6-2, a tournament title.
You watch these guys in a shoot-around and how they engage with their coach. The game plan, they're listening, there's teaching going on in every segment. There's a high-level energy. There is a joy on the floor when Houston takes it in any capacity. That is intoxicating. As an analyst to sit here and you go to these shoot-arounds, and K-State's kind of going through the motions, not picking on Coach Tang, but it's where their group is at right now. And you watch the Cougars come out, and you say, this is what it is. Bottle that up, that's what works. Effort, and he's getting it from his guys in all facets.
Kansas State is off to a strong start. They lead 8-2. And JoJo Tugler's on the bench with 2 personal fouls. How could that impact the game?
That's huge because he is their advantage at 6'8", but you see Tugler in person. His wingspan, his arms are so long, he plays like 6'11", 7 feet. That is a considerable amount of size and veteran experience and productivity on the floor that is missing.
Kansas State's on an 8-0 run. Uzan one-on-one with Hagerty. 17-footer sputters off. Sacco's been active on the offensive boards, celebrating a birthday today on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I love the effort from Sacco. I didn't like the possession from Uzan. I thought it was too much dribbling. Uzan and didn't move the basketball. Don't let the defense settle in and congeal. That's advantage defense. Move the basketball, find the advantage, pursue again.
Foul is on Buka for Kansas State, who has made his presence felt with a block already. 5 minutes in, Houston. Ramon Walker Jr.'s entered the lineup. Uzan knifing in over the top. Long run for Sacco. Deep in the timer. Walker, a prayer. Tapped around. A rugby scrum. And Kansas State has certainly brought the effort here today.
Defensively, they're engaged. They're locked in. They're forcing tough shots. Active hands from K-State. The next layer to that is a clean rebound. Not an out of bounds and settle. A clean rebound, because then you can pursue transition. Then you can beat Houston down the floor past the timeline and not allow them to set their half-court defense. It's a domino effect that opens the game up for possibility for your offense. Gotta grab clean rebounds.
Kansas State sloppy pass. It's off the hip of Castillo and out of bounds. Already the third K-State miscue.
It's funny, in talking with Coach Sampson, he said, you know, sometimes our rebounding numbers aren't great early because that is such a big part of the opposition's game plan is to rebound. But can they do it for 40 minutes? Some people can commit to it for 20, but run out of time.
A run out, Hagerty, a whistle and a foul. And P.J. Hagerty will toe the line for the Wildcats. K-State gets out in transition for the second time here in the first 5+.
That'll drive Coach Sampson crazy because his biggest thing was do not let them run. Make them score the half-court setting. Make life difficult for them. K-State finding those opportunities of early offense.
P.J. Hagerty has been excellent all season long for Kansas State on the offensive end. Inching closer to 2,000 career points. And he's done it in about 40 or 50 games less than the other guys on that graphic.
It's unbelievable.
Sharp loses his balance and his footing.
Houston sped up a lot. Unusual to see this start.
Underneath, Walker hangs. He'll head to the line to shoot two. Houston has started 1 for 10 from the floor.
And some of these looks have been decent looks. I mean, like that sequence, for example, Walker, a sublime job, a lost art in the game of being able to be a weapon without the basketball. Simply cuts behind the defense. It's caught ball watching in that short corner coming from the three-point line and earns himself 2 from the free throw line.
Walker can't hit. The foul.
You got time, young fella.
The foul was on Doreen Buka, K-State's 7-footer, the second tallest player in K-State history outside of Jason Bennett, who only played 1 year back in '06 and was 7'3". McGriff re-enters for the Wildcats. K-State has scored the last 9 points. And Walker finally ends the drought from the foul line. C.J. Jones is on the floor for K-State. He throws it at the kneecap of Johnson. 4th K-State turnover. Sidestep 3. Pinballs off.
K-State dodges a bullet there. You could not have unforced errors that lead to line ball turnovers.
Hagerty. Jones trying to back down Walker. McGriff one-on-one, double comes, throws it up with the left, off the mark. Sacco collects for the Cougs.
Got to be happy with the offensive sequence there. Just couldn't punctuate it, but played from one side to the other. Got a low post touch in 1v1.
Fleming's short, bothered by Castillo. Castillo fuels the break. Sacco met him at the summit.
How about the energy from Sacco? 2 blocks in transition to prevent easy bunny conversions.
Had 10 blocks all year before this one. 2 in the early minutes. NBA range 3 buckets. Emmanuel Sharp.
Here's one of the early inflection points of the game. How will K-State respond? Will they lay down or will they continue the fight? Will you play like 1-10 or 10-1 in conference?
Castillo trying to split a double team. Sacco's all over the floor. The jump and the arrow keeps it on this end with Kansas State.
James, when you talk about championship level teams, next man up mentality. Sacco gets the minutes because Tugler has that early foul trouble, and the guy is out here competing. 50-50 basketballs become 100% yours. Chasing down, deflecting shots, altering shots, running the floor. That'll get you more minutes on a Coach Sampson team.
We asked Coach Sampson, what are those national championship caliber traits? He said you have to win the possession battle, elite transition defense, the offensive glass. He also talked about unscripted points and just building positive daily habits.
And when you program that in your team's mind, that's as valuable as an alley-oop dunk or a three-point made, when they value it the same way, that's when your team elevates.
Great point. 10 to shoot, Hagerty, one-on-one. Relocating Jones, fires and connects on a triple.
Love the way Hagerty is managing the floor game. Understanding they're throwing two at him. Can he make a play for his teammates? This is the best start he's had as a distributor in a K-State uniform. Getting Jones a look.
Only the 11th three of the season for C.J. Jones. He's 22% from three on the year. Third K-State tray. Fleming's filthy from mid-range.
Highly contested. Great defensive effort. Effort being the buzzword for K-State.
Hagerty lets it fly. Splashes a three. The fourth K-State triple.
Masterful in how he used the screens to find daylight. Went one way, came back off the screen. Big time shot.
And with it, he becomes just the third player in K-State history to score 2,000 career points. K-State's on another mini 6-0 flurry. 6 to shoot for Houston. A long way from the top. Sharp, a deep hoist. Rebound. And a foul. Are they calling this against Houston? A week ago at TCU, they have been much better on the road in their last 7 games, though. In their 4 road games, 2.8 the difference in defeat. At home, they've lost by about 30 in their last 3 home showings.
And maybe there's something to be said about in front of your home crowd. You know you've let them down this season. Maybe there's a permeation of negativity on your home floor. You get away from the unfriendly confines of your home floor and you kind of just let it fly. And right now, it's absolutely what K-State's doing. Also had the caveat of they played some really hard teams on their home floor. May have a little bit to do with it, but
the 3 home losses, all by 24 or more. First school in Big 12 history to go through that stretch, to lose by 24 or more on your home floor. It was against Kansas, Iowa State, but then the shocker was Wednesday against Cincinnati.
And how lopsided it was against the Cincinnati team that's had a forgettable year as well. That was the tipping point. And Coach Tang had a message. He delivered it. His guys have responded here in the first half of the first half.
They have practiced 3 times in the last 24 hours. Manning spinning, fumbles it out of bounds. K-State with their 6th turnover.
Can you start to put together a string of baskets if you're Houston? You're winning on the offensive glass, but you're not able to convert. You're missing bunnies. You're getting sped up. Can you put together 2 productive offensive sequences? Let your defense do the rest of the work.
Sharp, return pass, jacks a 3, too easy.
I must manage the crowd with the timeout if I'm Coach Tang. Keep this crowd on their heinies.
Taj Manning thought about it, puts it on the deck, terminates and throws it away.
Can't have indecision against this defense. First good look, you got to take it.
Sanak out of control. Hagerty cleans it up for the Wildcats on the move. Stripped and a foul, and it goes against Sharp.
I thought it was clean from Sharp. He's got to watch himself here against the officials, but I do think that was all ball as he stabbed at it with his hand.
It's his first personal foul, and it puts Hagerty at the line for a pair.
Felt clean at first glance defensively from Sharp, so I understand the frustration.
If you're just joining us, Kansas State has already buried 4 threes. And they've held Houston to 17% shooting in this first half. There's the strip. Is it a foul?
Yeah, it was handsy before the stab at the basketball. I think the stab at the basketball was clean, but maybe it was the entire sequence where the culpability was found.
Hagerty splits the pair. He already has 8 points in this first half. Uzan yet to score. Probing throws it up, and his runner rattles in. Houston coming alive on the offensive end. Cats whip it around the wheel. Johnson fumbling. Turnover number 8. Uzan blocked. Out of bounds. And it's Houston basketball.
James, let me tell you, there are a whole lot of athletes on the floor in this contest this afternoon. Nothing at the rim is coming easy. Uzan thought he had one. Nate Johnson, the cloud of darkness hovers over the rim, and he races an easy one. That is 3, count them 3 already in this game. Transition layups that against mere mortals may have been converted, but not the high-level athletes on the floor this afternoon.
We have a coach's challenge. They'll head to the monitor and take a look at who touched it last. But Nate Johnson, he was the MAC Player of the Year. He was the MAC Defensive Player of the Year a season ago at Akron. They were high on him coming in. The first player since Bonzi Wells to sweep the awards back in '98. And showing off his athletic ability, K-State leads by 3. We're under the midway point of this first half.
And you're getting multiple efforts from this K-State team. That's what's been so impressive. Again, going back to the sharp words Coach Tang had after the lopsided loss to Cincinnati. You go one of 2 ways from those comments. We see them all the time from coaches. It's premeditated, where they want to get a message out to their team, and it's not necessarily in the locker room, but through the media airwaves. How guys respond, it's always fascinating to see. We came in a shoot-around. We saw K-State. They seemed emotionless. I didn't know what to make of that. Well, clearly very business-minded as we're going to look at the replay here. I don't know, partner. Your eye's better than mine. I thought that was last off Houston. Yeah, that should be K-State basketball.
So K-State will have it. Now, Jordan, on the offensive end, Kansas State has turned it over 3 times in their last 4 possessions. That's a minute 26 stretch where the Wildcats have been dysfunctional on offense. How do they fix things?
Well, here's the thing. It's been a bend but don't break approach. So they turn the basketball over, but they haven't allowed Houston to convert on those giveaways. They've given up offensive rebounds, 4 of them, as a matter of fact, to Houston, but they've only allowed 3 second chance points off those offensive rebounds. So there's a level of effort that is mitigating some of their mistakes in this first stanza.
They brought in Marcus Johnson, who has it. Went bananas at TCU a week ago with 4 first half threes. He's terminated his dribble in a 5-second violation. Turnover Wildcats.
James, his teammates hung him out to dry, man. You're my partner. I'm not leaving the game afterwards without you. I'm going to wait for you. Same applies when a double comes. Johnson's getting all that heat, all that pressure. Here comes a double. Where are his guys? Where are the receivers? Where's the safety valve? If I'm Johnson, that's when you're yelling at your teammates. That's where the display of emotion needs to come from. Guys, I need help.
Uzan off balance. K-State hasn't made a shot in over 3 minutes.
Meanwhile, Houston's finding a rhythm and a connectivity offensively.
Johnson from the corner rattles off. Houston on the move. Fleming's fueling the break, and then he throws it out of bounds. 3rd Houston turnover. And that's high for them. They only average 7 per game.
And it goes back to Coach Sampson's frustration. Nothing, and I mean nothing, will make him more irate than being that reckless with the basketball and a turnover that is unforced and only in fault of your own. Self-inflicted wounds are one of the golden rules that you cannot have in a Cougars uniform.
K-State on the road. They turn it over. Turnover number 10. Johnson, his 2nd, whistled for a walk. And that'll bring Taj Manning quickly back onto the floor for K-State.
So now you've addressed this side of the floor. Defensively, the Cougars are where they need to be in this last significant fragment of basketball. Offensively, can you be better with the basketball? Can you get better looks, and can you begin to convert them? That'll be the question here in the final 8 minutes of the first half.
Fleming's yet to score. Over to Uzan for a three. Johnson beats Sacco to the loose ball rebound. Hard collision and a whistle and an illegal screen called against Kansas State. And his nephew, PJ Hagerty, 8 points, 2 for 3 from the floor. He's not forcing in his 12 minutes of play, but Kansas State offensively, they have turned it over 6 times in their last 8 possessions.
Yeah, so now that you've found some of that turbulence, which is inevitable on Houston's home floor, how do you respond? You got to find more ways to open up some daylight for your scorer, PJ Hagerty, and let him make the decisions when he fields the double teams, like he's done so smoothly here in the first half.
The Wildcat is down, and it leads to thunder from Sadak. A double-fisted dunk, and Houston takes their first lead since it was 2-0.
Miscommunication, a couple bodies collided, which then just opened up a two-hand flush here. A little frenzied was the defense here. Oh, a slip from Hagerty gets him out of rotation. Sadak stands to benefit with the two-hand flush.
Buka has re-entered the lineup for the Wildcats. On the floor with 2 personal fouls. It's a thin front line for K-State with all the injuries. Hagerty chucks it into backcourt. It was tipped. K-State on the trot with 13 to shoot. Hagerty jacks a 3. That's an air ball.
Hagerty, look, he's a great scorer, so he can score in even frenzied scenarios, but that felt even too rushed for him. Surprised maybe that they were granted an extra shot at it. Thought it was going to be a backcourt violation. The focus wasn't there on the offer.
Uzan, teardrop. Sacco with the finish. And a technical foul's been issued to Houston. They call it against Sacco.
Oh, no. Let him play with some emotion. It's what fuels the guy. He's been the most valuable player in a Cougar uniform in this first half. I don't like this unless there is some sharp expletive that we can't hear. That was a pass. Goes, gets it, gathers, plays off 2. Oh, yeah, I think an expletive at the back end there. If I'm a lip reader, that'll get you every time.
Lip reading is not a side hustle, but it didn't look good. Johnson's free throw spits out. Splits the pair. And Kansas State will have possession with a chance to tie or take the lead.
So I think here's the summation of it all. Sacco can be emotional, but you can't yell a 4-letter expletive in anybody's direction on the floor and not expect to be penalized.
K-State ball. Houston with a 2-point lead, and their leading scorer, Kingston Flemings, is 0 for 6 and has not scored. Curls to the foul line. Castillo for the lead. Around it out in the rebound, Houston. Uzan has been assertive.
Uzan's got to win this matchup. He's got a big, got to make him dance.
Has the 7-footer on him. His 3 wide left. And a foul on the interior. It's against K-State. To believe it's on Hagerty, and that is his second, if that's the case.
And you don't have the luxury of sitting Hagerty with 2. You got to power through and trust the guy who's played a lot of college basketball to play clean and stay out there on the floor and be a viable option for your team. A team that's lacking a lot of resources offensively.
That is his second. Well, keep your friends close and your neighbors closer. Kiki Palmer stars in The Burbs, a new original series, streaming now only on Peacock. So that goes 1 for 2. K-State's Johnson with the rebound. Kansas State had led a good chunk of this first half, but it's Houston by 3. Hagerty double cups. Buka launches short on his 3.
Yeah, they're daring Buka to take that three-point shot.
Sharp. Steal the rebound.
Around it, James. They're right around it. There's a lid on that three-point shot.
Houston is 2 for 10 from distance. Buka finds the cutter in a jam from Taj Manning.
That double was so slow developing. It was easy to telegraph it was coming to then find a receiver for a dunk finish. Lacking a sense of urgency defensively there on the double, which is very unusual from Houston defense.
And the vision from the 7-footer over the top. Ten on the timer. Uzan against Manning. Gives it up. Sharp deep in the shot clock. Follow-away is in. Cross-court skip. Hagerty's 3 slides across the rim. Rebound Flemings. Houston wants to run. And they cycle it out to Sharp trailing. From the foul line. Collects his own miss. 7th Houston offensive rebound, but they can't capitalize.
That can't be a tip out. That's got to be a rebound with 2 hands against Houston.
Flemings wide open. A 3 is from Uzan. Timeout, K-State. The lead is 6 for the Cougs.
Forward, some change left. Houston, this is what I love about this Houston team. Offensively, aesthetically, it hasn't been great. It doesn't change their effort on the other end of the floor and also chasing 50-50s and second chance. And that is true champion-level basketball.
The war of fours. This is a key stretch if K-State's going to hang around.
Got to value the basketball. Give your offense an opportunity.
Shot clock at 7. Johnson has to hoist a deep 3 that almost goes.
But look how far they're pushed out, James. There's no advantage inside the three-point line. They're praying and hovering around NBA-level three-point looks. That is not going to chip away at this deficit.
They ran their offense from about 30 feet away.
That's what Houston does defensively. Credit their defense and their approach. Suffocated. Very disruptive.
Uzan plays hot potato with Sharp. Weaves his way inside. Underneath, Sacco, a clean look. And they practice those reverse layups a ton.
And it's taking a risk out of it. You play off 2. You make sure you're firm with the basketball. Sacco shows 2 hands to be that reliable receiver. That eliminates the turnover and makes it a successful sequence.
Already down to 10 on the shot for K-State. Castillo, an air bank. Sacco collects.
James, what's nice quality look K-State's got? It's been some time now. You're starting to feel the boa constrictor constrict on its prey.
Houston's on a 7-0 run. Harwell jacks a 3. Johnson 2 on 3. Crosses over, loses his balance. And it's off the foot of Uzan. It will stay with K-State on this end of the floor.
Talk about eliminating risk in plays. Sharp here, draws the 2 defenders, plays down, plays off 2, bounce pass, catch in the short corner from Sacco, gathers, he plays off 2 and finishes. Lesser teams, that's a turnover, miss layup, or the layup opportunity is altered or blocked. But because of repetition, high-level coaching, they go out there and it's a seamless sequence that translates to 2 points.
Houston has carved out an 8-point lead, and they've done it without their starting four-man, JoJo Tugler, who picked up 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes. Single digits on the shots. Hagerty down to 5. Johnson against Uzan. Curls off balance. Tip in. No. Uzan rolled an ankle.
Oh, no. You hope it's just one of those that sends a jolt, but you're okay. How about the toughness of this young guy? Milos Uzan wants to lace it back up and play. It's good that he's walking off on his own accord. That's important. Yeah, been there before. Sometimes you hope it's just a stinger.
And the reaction immediately. Flemings enters the lineup. That is their senior leader. Flirted with the NBA draft during the offseason, came back, wanted to chase a championship here at Houston.
Another guy I got a chance to talk to in the preseason. The guys in the uniform on this Houston team, why they win so much? High character guys, guys you want to root for, guys who've been around the program. You don't say that a lot about college basketball. It's what Coach Sampson has built here. They love it, they trust it, they know the benefits that you reap here, and they stay, and they win a lot.
Winning this program in the last 8 years. Fleming's off balance, still searching for his first points. K-State scrapes the rebound. Here comes Castillo, one-on-one. Stops. Offensive rebound, Hagerty. Sharp takes it away. So much contact. No whistles. Sharp with an alley. And he'll head to the line to shoot 2.
K-State having a heck of a time trying to find anything at the rim unchallenged. I mean, so many multiple defensive efforts from Cougars defensively, where this K-State team is just, they're so sped up, and they have to be just to get off a look. And then it's a one-and-done opportunity, and boom, the other way. Houston's running. This game is shifted big time, James.
They called the foul on Buka. That's number 3. From the producers of 30 Rock, Tracy Morgan and Daniel Radcliffe team up in the new comedy, The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins. The 1-hour premiere event is Monday, February 23rd on NBC and Peacock. Sharp at the line, hits both. And Houston, they've built a 10-point lead, their largest of the game.
Here at K-State, it probably feels like a 25-point lead.
Hagerty's teardrop way off the mark. Kansas State hasn't scored in almost 5 minutes.
The water has been turned off.
Strip, foul on Johnson.
This is a tough game for some of these guys to play in, because in certain sequences they're letting them play. Then other times you feel like you've had a strip that doesn't warrant the whistle, and you might have daylight going the other way, and then the whistle blows for a violation.
Our crew today, Michael Greenstein, Keith Patterson, and Deldray Carr.
High-level crew.
K-State's season low for a half. All time is 19 against Oklahoma. 2 seasons ago. They've been stuck on 19 for a hot minute. Sharp has 14 points in this first half.
Sharp's been great.
Hagerty from the elbow, offline. K-State had 4 early offensive rebounds, but it's been one and done since.
You're K-State, James, you're praying in what's most likely to be the last 11 seconds of the first half. You can convert something to have some sort of offensive belief entering the break. But right now, it's Houston focused, and Sharp's going to make the decision.
Houston by a dozen. Behind the back, fadeaway, Jay, tap outs, and they call it over the back on Cedric Lott.
I hate to harp on this. I don't understand some of these calls. It's a physical game. Bodies have been flying all over. That's simply a tap out. A play that should be celebrated for a second chance look, and instead it's going to give K-State an opportunity to add points and cut into this deficit.
Kansas State has missed their last 9 field goals. 14 seconds left. Manning at the line. Can't hit the front end of the 1-and-1. K-State has tied a season low and a school low for points and a half. And a foul on the floor on the Wildcats.
Fleming's ability to change tempos. He almost stands the defense up because it feels like he's going to reset, and that's when that quick just quick first step blows by the defense and provides an advantage for him to then read and react at the second line of defense.
He's averaging almost 19 points per game in Big 12 play, but that free throw was his first point of this one today. Houston's on a 13-0 run over the last 4:45. And Fleming's officially in the book, his first points of the afternoon. Hagerty, a desperation 3 at the horn, off the mark. And K-State has tied a program record.
To most of this opportunity, I said, well, were they upset? Were they fired up? Because they seemed pretty emotionless in the shoot-around today. He goes, that's a problem. They're really good kids. I want them to yell back at me. I want to see some fire. It's what I'm trying to generate. I haven't seen a ton of emotion, but I've seen the effort from this K-State team. They have responded in that regard.
And some emotion from K-State center Kamari McGriff, who just got whistled for what will be his 4th personal foul. And it comes 7 seconds into this second half, and the end result is a seat on the bench next to Coach Tang.
James, here's a fascinating dichotomy of it all. Coach Tang is fueled by emotion and passion. That's how he lives his life. That's how he wanders those sidelines. That's how he's built this program. That's where he's found the success early on in his tenure. And he's trying to find that back with this group.
JoJo Tugler only played 2 minutes in the first half. His first basket. He was in foul trouble.
That was by design. Get the big fella a touch, re-engage him back in this game. He is a huge main artery through which everything flows on both ends of the floor for the Cougars.
Houston has their largest lead. Manning from the corner, short on his 3. Flemings pulls up and connects.
So cerebral in that mid-range. Gets to his spot, collects, stops on a dime to compose, rise, fire.
Has 4 points. He's been quiet. Scored just 4 against Utah earlier this week. Almost 19 per game in Big 12 play. A deflection and a dunk.
Gotta get a timeout. Gotta get a timeout. Gotta get a timeout.
Timeout, Jerome Tang, Kansas.
In the second half, compounded with what has now become a Herculean run of what, 33-4?
Over the last 11 minutes of gameplay, bridging the 2 halves together, 33-4. Hagerty's fouled in the forecourt. They call it on Emmanuel Sharp. That is his second.
The way Houston is defending, they might not need to score another basket. I mean, the way that they have just dominated defensively, K-State, this cushion seems safe.
Buka miss, and on the follow, Manning punctuates. That is K-State's first basket in about 8 minutes, bridging the 2 halves together. From the top, Uzan's 3 off the mark. Tugler offensive rebound. And again, he only played 2 minutes in the first half because he picked up 2 very quick fouls and making an impact in the early minutes of the second.
That's why I love that they engaged the big fella in an offensive sequence to commence the second half. Say, all right, let's activate you again, big fella. Get your hands on that orange ball, score it. Now let's get you back to doing what you do. Defend, create second chance opportunities, score around the basket, rim runs, be our motor, be our lifeline. He has to start.
Jerome Tang was just teed up. Technical foul, Sharp at the line. delivers the first. The frustrations mounting from the K-State coaching staff. They had a stretch last season. Jordan, they won 6 in a row. They were the #1 team in the country during that stretch, according to Torvik. They had just beaten Kansas at home. Since then, they are 4-16 in Big 12 play.
Just not a lot of fire and fight in this group. And that's definitely not going to translate going against Houston. It's certainly not going to translate in a conference chock full of champion contenders.
Kansas State had a 9-point lead at one time in this game in the first half. Turnover Houston, just their 4th. K-State basketball down by 20. Hagerty's 2 for 10 from the floor. 10 to shoot. Johnson. Manning. Pocket pass. Hagerty from the baseline, and he puts it through.
I can promise you that's the cleanest look Hagerty's going to get all night long. Did a good job, perpetual motion, just working his way from one side to the other, locating a slipper at that short corner to catch and float one from the short corner.
Houston at shoot-around this morning, they were surgical in how they plan to defend P.J. Hagerty. 10 on the shot clock. Houston's out near midcourt. Uzan navigates, meanders, baseline, short for 3, it's there.
It's a beautiful two-man game from Uzan and Sharp, two guys that have played a lot of basketball together these last 2 seasons, playing beautifully off each other, patrolling the baseline, making themselves available as the baseline receiver to catch and get a clean look from 3. Beautiful symmetry.
This team is so connected.
It's a great word to describe it. Absolutely right, James.
A foul goes against the Wildcats, an illegal screen. That's number 4 on Buka.
You know what? I'll do you one better. This program's so connected. There's an identity in this program. There's not a lot of identities that are still safe in a college game with the ever-changing landscape. Houston is archaic in that regard. Archaic in all the right ways. They do not compromise their principles, their ideals, their philosophies, and their approach. And it translates to a boatload of wins.
Buka's follow rattles in after the Sanak 3.
I mean, you've got a coach on the sidelines, a coach Kelvin Sampson, that is one of the greatest to ever coach in our game of college basketball. Active, alive, dead, anything. This guy is a legend. A Naismith Hall of Fame finalist, deservedly so.
Sanak throws it away. Johnson intercepts, spins it to Castillo. Houston's turned it over on their last 2 trips. Rare blunders from the nation's leader and fewest miscues as Castillo's 3 is right between the eyes.
Confident look, and it probably feels like a little bit of a stress reliever to see one of those deep 3s feel so good coming off.
That's his 3rd 3 of the game. Flemings won't go. Lead pass Castillo ahead of the pack, and he lays it in.
And they feel like in the last 2 sequences, there's been a let-up from Houston. Tracing back to defend your goal and a run out for K-State, and now they put together something unthought of in the first half. Consecutive scores.
A little 7-0 run from the purple. Sharp trying to end the drought. He can't.
Should have been a post repost. Give it back to Tugler. Let him reestablish. Try and make another go at it from the post.
Castillo. Hagerty. Pick and pop underneath. Excellent ball movement. And Buka with the throwdown. Timeout Houston. Or is it a technical? Buka gets teed up for taunting.
And like, what are you, young man, what are you doing? You're down 15. You're 1-10 in conference. Take your small win. It's unacceptable from Buka. Unacceptable.
And I didn't see any reaction from him after the dunk other than I think he kind of spiked the basketball out of bounds. which is a delay of game and an automatic tee.
And I do believe there's a measure of this that comes from Coach Tank wants his guys to be emotional. He wants them to show some sort of fire. There's ways to do it. There's ways not to do it. The latter clearly came to the forefront, and now you don't have a chance to help your team anymore. Those are selfish plays. It's probably coming from a good place, but you got to think it through a little bit more.
K-State has a very small lineup out on the floor. Tallest player is Taj Manning at 6'7". It's a 4-guard lineup. And an offensive foul called against Houston. K-State basketball down by 17. They've made their last 4 shots and 6 of their last 7 after they had just 5 makes the entire first half. They were 5 of 26. Sacco is checked in for Houston. He was their energizer in the first stanza. 10 on the timer. Johnson against the big, one-on-one. Steps back. Jones, his 3, wide left.
Credit Houston defensively. You're not going to win 1v1s in isolation against these guys.
Fleming's a bit out of control. He throws it away. 7th Houston turnover. Well, tonight on prime time in Milan, watch Jordan Stolz go for gold in the men's 500 meters. And for the first time, Dual Moguls tonight on NBC and on Peacock.
All right, namesake, let's get it, Jordan Stolz. I'll be locked in. You got a pretty nice Valentine's Day set up for yourself this evening as we get a replay look at Hagerty getting downhill.
My wife said, all I want for Valentine's Day is to meet Coach Kelvin Sampson. My response, say less.
Yeah, so you got to give her the moon. She asked for the moon, you got to give it to her. And the moon, by the way, delivered. Coach Sampson talking to your lovely wife, Lacey, and dropped some gems. He said he's been married for 46 years to his wife. Told him what it takes to be married for 46 years. I said, hey, James, it might not have been the best decision to introduce her to Kelvin Sampson because it's a high bar he's setting for us as husbands to try and get to 46 years.
And they are a basketball family. His wife is his biggest supporter. His daughter is on staff. His son, Kellen, is his top assistant. All basketball, all the time.
And it shows through the program. The caliber of kids they want. It's a part of their program are kids they want to welcome into their household. So they're building this fortified program with high-level, high-class young men. That translates to consistent winning as well. There's still a place for that in the college game, not just going for top-dollar guys.
A charge called on Nate Johnson on this end.
McCarty, just sublime job of getting into rotation here. Getting outside the circle, supplanting those 2 feet, and offering his body up to a basketball higher power. You love to see the selfless defense in that sequence.
McCarty has a really high ceiling. Redshirted last year. He's a redshirt freshman. He was hurt a good chunk of the non-conference. Still finding his way, but he's a baller. Harwell's 17-footer is silky smooth.
An Idaho product. Coach Sampson gets them from everywhere.
Jones swoops in, nowhere to go. Johnson, quick pass. And Hagerty's held and fouled on the floor. It goes against Harwell. That's his 2nd personal foul.
Harwell, just another guy, steps in and contributes, adding to the depth, but also the future, which remains bright with the recruiting Coach Sampson continues to do with this Houston squad.
Both teams below 40% shooting today. It's not been a fluid offensive showing on either side. Johnson bounces it off his heel. Deep in the shot clock. Castillo left alone for a 3, and it spits out.
And those are the looks when provided. There has to be a higher conversion rate. If the defense allows you those, you have to capitalize because there's not going to be many James presented to you from Houston defensively.
As a former player, does that thought enter your head when you play somebody that's as tenacious as these guys defensively and you finally get one?
It makes you inherently uncomfortable, and that is perpetual for 40 minutes. Your shots are rushed, your passes are rushed. It becomes challenging.
Sends us to immediate timeout. Houston leads by 17. K-State with the challenge of the night here at the Fertitta Center. The always popular kiss cam.
I love love. It's Valentine's Day. Who doesn't love love? A couple just kissed celebrating their 61st anniversary, and they're watching basketball as their Valentine's Day date. Come on, it tells me. You can tell me sports isn't romantic. You kidding me?
Houston by 17, but they've turned it over 4 times the last 2+ minutes. Kansas State got it down to 15 at one time in this second half before the Buka technical foul.
Man, if I'm K-State in our huddle, I'm saying we're not dead yet. 17-point game, whole lot of basketball left. Make that 15.
Manning with the left hand. He's been active. Miller's checked in for Houston. It rolls off.
Great effort on the offensive backboard, generating more possessions.
9th offensive rebound for the Cougars, and it leads to the lay-in from Sacco.
Sacco has done a magnificent job of loitering around the rim. Energy finds the basketball finds energy, and it's found him a lot.
Uh-oh, Miller lays it in. A blossoming sophomore, the son of Master P. It's a 19-point lead for the Cougs.
Tell you what, there's no limit to that young man's ability and ceiling.
Manning on the roll, tried to dunk it, and he's met at the rim and fouled by McCarty.
And if you know, you know. I'll tell you, you could mash up so many of these clips. Have mercy on the rim, he says, I'll lay it in with some finesse. Mr. Miller gives him 2. But it's all about your defense fueling that offense to keep that offense in a propped up position to succeed. You're always going to have a rhythm when your defense is providing runouts to see the ball go on the goal time and time again.
K-State is 5 for 11 from the foul line today.
Thought it was fascinating going back to Mercy Miller, just another one of the young men in this program cultivated from a very impressive family. This is a coach, and talking with Coach Sampson, he said, I seek out the parents who want the best for their kids. We're all aligned in this thing. We want to all be on the same page. I don't want mercenaries coming into my program that are here for a year. What can we do for them? No, I want this to be collaborative. How can we lift this young man up to be successful in life? And when you have that buy-in from the parents to the offspring that's coming into your program, you're built to succeed. Mercy Miller is just another one of those young men.
And he sets the standard in the offseason.
Talent too. I mean, bright future. Look at him wheel and deal.
Miller off balance, short. But Coach Sampson has a hard, fast rule. He will not talk to players' parents about basketball once the season begins. Anything else is still on the table.
I need to make that rule when I go to school pickup for my kids.
10 on the timer as Hagerty goes to work. He has taken a beating all day.
They just made it so challenging on Hagerty, and we knew they would. He's now 4 of 14 from the field. He's gotten very few clean looks this afternoon.
Miller's 3. Nearly collected his own miss. A run out for Hagerty. Uzan giving chase, and Hagerty's too quick.
That's a big-time score. I mean, that is a big-time score. One of the few bright spots on what has been, to call it what it is, a forgettable season for K-State. I mean, he took that right at the chin of the defense, unrelenting in his approach to find 2.
He has 14 points today, went over 2,000 in the first half for his career. Uzan single digits on the timer. Step back, pop. It's there.
It's also a big game for Houston and getting their rotation guys more minutes to keep them involved, knowing that you're going to have to tap them at some point in what is a long, arduous season.
Jones in the corner, launches a three, hits the top of the backboard. Ball is still in play. Harwell hit a wet spot. Hagerty to the rack, draws a foul, +1.
Hagerty ain't going to lay down.
Continues to fight here on the road. The lead is 16 for the home team.
One gifted to him here in the backcourt. Stays with that one. Had the advantage. Collects the basketball on a score. He's going to find his way to the goal through contact from Miller. Like all great finishers, keeps his eye on the goal through that contact to generate the three-point play opportunity.
He's been on the floor all 31 minutes. Cans the free throw. And K-State will bring Manning back into the lineup. Hagerty has scored the last 5 for the Wildcats. There's still 9 minutes to go in this one.
I'll give credit to K-State. Look, moral victories, nobody wants those. But this is a group that is still fighting here in the second half. They have not laid down in lieu of the comments from their coach that made the rounds this week.
Coach Tang was baffled. He was embarrassed.
Rightfully so.
After K-State fell by 31 at home against Cincinnati, and P.J. Hagerty is putting on a clinic.
And now you just got to think in stages. Let's try and get this thing into single digits if you're K-State. Let's continue to compete, because that's what got us here.
Timeout, Houston. K-State has outscored Houston in the second half by a point. It's a 13-point lead for the Cougs here.
Appearance, how close they were. A title or not, that's not going to define him. He's aware of that. It's not like he's doing this, it's because I need that coveted national title. He is at peace, as he should be, with the incredible, legendary career that he's had. Would it be icing on the cake? Absolutely, but it is not something he is just chasing. That being said, we're watching a national title contender right here. They've got a darn good chance this season.
If you were to define championship DNA, how would you describe it?
I would define it by a group that has a maturity, a connectivity, a group that can win in a variety of ways, a group that has the connectivity with their coach, so the coach doesn't have to be micromanaging the team. They can go out there and play through the type of game that the coach wants them to. Everybody's on the same page. There's nobody on an island doing their own thing. And that starts with the minute these young men come onto campus here. They kind of go through a boot camp of sorts to say, I'm Coach Calvin Sampson. This is how I do it. This is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
They absorb that. They digest that. Then they go out there and they execute. This is a championship caliber team, but bigger than that, it's a championship caliber program built on consistency, starting with the Naismith finalist over there, Coach Calvin Sampson, who I tell him every time I get a chance to do their games, it's an honor.
He is simply the best. Manning's all tangled up underneath with McCarty. And a foul will be called on the redshirt freshman for Houston.
I mean, James, think about all that Coach Sampson has accomplished, right? We showed you the bullet points on that graphic. But I think one of the things most impressive, maybe another notch on the belt, if you will, is the fact that in this era of so much turbulence in college basketball, he has returners coming back. Not just role player guys, stars that understand what he can do for them. They continually come back season after season. They have continuity. That was something that was commonplace years ago in the game. That's gone away. Coach Sampson has that, and it's not with top dollar baiting guys in. It's with, you see what we do here. This is all built organically. Come be a part of it. And they're coming in droves. I think that's remarkable. That achievement alone is a standalone sublime achievement.
He's only had 4 players transfer out during his tenure.
Stars that can go say, hey, I want $4 million here. They come back because they believe, and for good reason. Proof's in the pudding.
Manuel Sharp turns it over. That's one area Houston's been subpar today. They do have 13 miscues. K-State underneath with an offensive rebound. Johnson floats into the corner and drills a three. It's a 10-point game with 7 minutes to go.
K-State offensively humming in this second half. 60% shooting, forcing turnovers from Houston. They have flipped this game with their execution offensively and locking in with effort defensively.
Sharp can't clear his three. Shot clock at 8. Uzan against Castillo. Sharp has to let it fly. It's off the mark. Rebound in the corner, out of bounds to Houston. It stays on this end.
That's so debilitating. You do such a good job in the sequence defensively, and you can't punctuate the effort with a strong defensive rebound to go chase more offense, because your offense is rolling. But you got to get the stops to earn your offense the right to go try and convert on that end. And you got to rebound.
Houston basketball. Flemings, who's just 1 for 11 today from the floor, 4 points. Houston's leading scorer on the season. He was the inbounder. Sharks had the hot hand back-to-back 20-plus point games. 7 on the shot to Uzan against Jones. Step back 3. It's good.
Jones fell asleep at the wheel a little bit. He thought Uzan was going to compose and move the basketball. And once Uzan saw that he took his foot off the pedal defensively, that's when he reared up for the 3. Got it to go.
Inside of 6 minutes left. Johnson, pocket pass underneath. McGriff is blocked from behind. The foul is called on Flemings, and it will be 2 shots for the K-State big.
So much of the game is read and react. Johnson does a fantastic job fielding the double, doesn't force a chest pass, elects to do it via the bounce pass to split that defense, get it to McGriff at point-blank range to draw contact.
McGriff is a 67% foul shooter, and he hits the first. The lead is a dozen. Houston shooting 40%, K-State 39. Both teams have made 6 threes. But Houston has 10 offensive rebounds and 13 second chance points. And then Houston winning the points in the paint 24-20. Flemings turning the corner, stops on a dime, and he draws a foul.
They had him right where they wanted him defensively. Johnson's momentum, a little too much. And that hurts because now you're putting him at the free throw line. These fouls now become weighted because it's opportunities to score without defense involved.
It's the 4th foul on Nate Johnson. Fleming's an 83% foul shooter. Cashes in on the first. McGriff re-enters for Taj Manning. If you're Kansas State, what adjustments did you see from halftime? And how does K-State continue to claw their way back?
They moved the basketball. They were able to, when the doubles came, find receivers as a safety valve to then break down that defense, get into rotation, get looks. Ball went in the basket like all 18 to 22-year-olds. You commit to defending at a higher clip. They forced some turnovers. Houston got loosey-goosey with it. We got a game.
Castillo a 3. Jones offensive rebound. K-State gets another possession. Hagerty, Jones a 3. Rebound Flemings.
That was another one of those sequences. Hagerty draws 2, finds Jones for a clean look. Simply can't convert.
Sinek from the corner. Deadly from downtown. His second 3. Hagerty bumped and fouled by Sharp. The lead is 16 in favor of Houston. Chris Sinek, who hit that 3, shoots 36% from the 5 spot from downtown.
Hagerty has also understood, hey, I've got to be the lighthouse. I have been all season. We're still clinging to some life here on the road against one of the nation's best. I'm going to go in overdrive, and he has for this group. And if it's not him scoring it, again, he's brought the defensive attention. He's found a release point. Can his guys make shots down the stretch to keep it interesting? Stay tuned.
He's drawn a lot of fouls. That was number 4 on Emmanuel Sharp, and so he gets a breather. And Harwell enters the lineup. Hagerty's up to 20 points, now 21. Has nearly half of K-State's total. Tugler one-on-one with Manning. Flemings with 10 on the shot clock, demanding a screen. Stop and start. Rises up, and that is pretty.
But that's communication, too. It goes down to Tugler. He doesn't have it. He kicks it back out to Flemings. Flemings wanted to go back to him. He said, no, you make a play. And the freshman goes and gets to space and hits the jumper.
After Hagerty's miss, Houston on the secondary break.
Not making the risky pass, valuing the basketball. One of the foundational ideals and philosophies of Coach Sampson. Don't force it. Make the easy pass.
Flemings splits the traffic, throws it up, left it well short. And a foul on Houston.
Nothing worse in a dunk contest when they need 2 and 3 tries, because then you've already seen it not work. It takes a lot of the gusto out of it.
Loses its luster.
One try, important. Love the emotion on the landing. Crowd responded to it. I think an 8 is fair.
And the lack of creativity is probably what keeps Emmanuel Sharp on the floor so much. Because if you're showing off, you'll be on the bench next to Coach Sampson.
I don't think Coach is seeking out the 360 dunk or going off the glass. Some pizzazz.
He's got a game-high 23 points. Emmanuel Sharp, back-to-back efforts in the 20s. Hit 8 threes, a career high earlier this week against Utah for an encore 23 points and 6 rebounds. Kansas State with some pressure, down by 15. Drive and kick, Harwell in and out.
How about the fight down low from Flemings? You got your point guard in there mixing it up, trying to generate second chance. And his effort alone gives them an opportunity from the free throw line. That is the culture of this program. Find ways to find more possessions in the opposition. And one of the key ways, the offensive glass.
8 points for Flemings, well below his season average, but 6 rebounds and 4 assists. What do you see in terms of how he's impacted the game today?
Flemings in every way. He's made some shots. He hasn't made a ton of them. He's been inefficient for sure, but he's been on the backboard with those 6 rebounds. He's distributed with those 4 assists, and he's limited his turnovers to only 2. Now, of course, coach would probably want none or 1, but as much as he's handling the basketball, it's only given away twice. You'll live with that. What I love the most is shots aren't falling. He's still competing at a high level and impacting the game.
Hasn't affected his demeanor in any way.
Nope. That's another great point. These guys aren't hung up on the personal accolades. It's the team. Is the team winning? Is the team positioned properly? Then I'm okay.
Johnson, a deep 3 off the heel. Karam's long. Houston in control. K-State hasn't made a field goal in 4 minutes. And much like the first half, Houston is clamped down defensively when it matters most. A pause in the action. JoJo Tugler took a shot, and Sacco will enter the lineup.
Sacco can't wait to get back in. I love the eagerness of the big fella.
Well, it gets tough for the Cougs. Iowa State on Big Monday, and then Arizona and Kansas. Their next 3 opponents are a combined 64 and 10. And they'll see Arizona for the first time.
Murderers row, and those are quick turnarounds. And I'll tell you what, that Iowa State game, that Arizona game, those loom large in how this conference thing plays out down the stretch. What a loaded fun conference the Big 12 has been this year, and has been for a few years now.
And 2 of those next 3 for Houston are on the road. P.J. Hagerty got popped in the grill. They call a foul. And that's on Emmanuel Sharp, and that is number 5 for the veteran guard. So he is disqualified for the final 2:52. Hagerty's back at the line. Sharp exits with 23 points. And a round of applause from the home crowd here at the Fertitta Center.
He was the difference maker.
He had 27 earlier this week against Utah, set a new career high with 8 threes. He hit 3 today. Hagerty at the line. He's been off from the stripe. 5 for 9, came in around 80%. Second one also no good.
A little bit of full court pressure here, just to see if anything can get weird. The final 2 and some change.
The Big 12 tournament in about 3 weeks up in Kansas City. How does Houston match up with their next 3 opponents? Iowa State on Monday, then Arizona, and then Kansas.
I'll tell you, the Iowa State and Arizona ones, look, Kansas is great. I don't think Kansas is up there with Iowa State and Arizona. And I think that showed with the Iowa State-Kansas game today. I truly feel like Kansas State has almost overachieved. And the job that Coach Self's done this year is one of his best. But those games, Iowa State game, Arizona game, must-see TV. Quick turnarounds for those. On that round-robin field there is going to be interesting to see. But they're going to be battles. There are going to be battles in the trenches. The guards are going to get after it. The backboard will define those games. A lot of rugged competitors in those 2 matchups.
The Iowa State game is in Ames, and then they'll host Arizona here before traveling to Lawrence to Allen Fieldhouse to take on Kansas. Flemings has his last 6 points at the foul line. Hagerty bangs into Sacco, and a blocking foul is called. This will put P.J. Hagerty back at the line, where he is 5 for 10 today.
If you had 2 minutes and 29 seconds to live, you'd want it to be these 2 minutes and 29 seconds, because with both teams deep into the penalty, a lot of free throws here.
For Kansas State, they've been held to 54. Now this team, even at 10 and 14, this K-State team has scored the most points through 24 games in program history. More so than the 07-08 team with Michael Beasley and Bill Walker. More so than the 2010 Elite Eight team with Jacob Pullen and Denny Clemente. Defensively is where they've struggled.
Yeah, it almost feels like sacrilege to mention this team in comparison with those, but it's fascinating, and it illuminates where the real struggle lies with this group. But beyond the box scores and the statistics, I think it's the fight of this team. I think they lack a true leadership quality, and it's no knock on P.J. Hagerty, who I think is a remarkable performer. But I think they need one of those alpha-type voices, somebody that's going to fire this group up. You don't see a lot of emotion from them. They lack a dog in the group, and that has plagued this group throughout the season, and that shows on the defensive end. There's a desire, there's a want to in how you guard and how you approach that side. If there's a swagger that's lacking from this K-State team in that regard.
And defensively, they're last in the Big 12 in scoring defense. Harwell at the line, can't hit. Houston had the number 2 ranked recruiting class in the country. They have the number 1 center in the country headed this way for next season, so they are loading up once again. That's the one thing that was kind of missing when you look at Kelvin Sampson's Houston teams, is were getting more out of the recruiting rankings, and now they're starting to really clean up in all facets as a program as Jones flips it in. Out of bounds, Houston basketball with right at 2 minutes to play. Speaking of March, let me ask you a question.
Oh, please don't.
You get Houston and Arizona versus the field.
You see why you do that to me? Here's my thing, and I'm steadfastly about this. I don't like picking a title team because it matters so much how you enter the tournament. So how these teams look right now is great. But how you enter into March, your mindset, how connected your group is, what your locker room is like, matters. It just does. The teams that enjoy each other's company in mid-March are the teams that just do better. And us in the media don't know that stuff because guess what, James? We ain't in the locker room. And that locker room has to be fortified to have a true title shot.
Sacco at the line for Houston. Selection
See how I
Sundays.
sidestepped that? You like that? But it's true. It is true.
Euro stepped that question.
Yeah, man.
Selection Sunday is still about a month away. So when you think about how much teams grow from December to the end of January or January to now, there's still time for these programs to truly hit their stride.
Yeah, and I also don't believe a team can peak too early. I believe teams can peak at the right time, but a team like, let's say, Houston drops a couple down the road here. It's not, well, they won 16 to 17, they're in a bad way. Can they figure it out back when you get in turn? No, that's not a factor. It's where's your team at in a long journey of a season, and can they lock in when it matters most? Can they limit the mistakes? Can they not beat themselves but go out and beat the opposition? Can they absorb a game plan and a quick turnaround, execute it to go from one game to the next? In those tight weekends when everything's magnified. Those are the defining factors. Not how great is your guard play. You get there because you've got that. It's how they translate in that part of the season. It's amplified. How do they perform in those moments? Between the ears, you have to be your best in March after what has been a long journey to get there with these seasons starting earlier and earlier.
Houston basketball, final 90 seconds. Second best scoring defense in all of college basketball has limited Kansas State to 58 points, and McCarty is on target from the stripe.
And my partner's hoping for no fouls. He's got a Valentine's Day date with his lovely wife. No kids around. Lacey's like, let's get out of here. We got dinner. It's Valentine's Day.
Quarter to three from Johnson. Relocates. There it is. The second one is through.
Get talked about a lot. Let's remember this. These young men are as talented as they've ever been. And a lot of them, because of the new rules and guidelines, are staying in college longer, and the elevation of play has never been better.
College basketball has been a record-setting couple of seasons across the sport. Johnson just hit one moments ago, and he has another and another K-State timeout with 48 seconds to go.